So I like to just break up theology, all kinds of theology. And right now, I'm right in my Christian theology right now. And for a long time, and I felt like a lot of people have this feeling too, you just don't know about the Bible. Like, like there's good stuff in it, like it makes sense, and it's a lot of stuff in it doesn't make sense. And you feel as though like it's something that is very, very just weird to understand. So some people don't even look at it. You know what I mean? And I understand that. I didn't look at it for a long time either. And then I read it, right? So the Bible is written in a way that it will create whatever perspective you put on it. However you read it, whatever perspective you read it in, it is possible. That book will read it to you and it will read it back to you. Not only that, it'll also make you feel bad for a lot of things that you've done, because the average person has a lot of normal things that they do. You know what I mean? I'm just going to call it normal. So I read the Bible, I got all those feelings, that normal feelings that everybody get. Oh yeah, God and stuff like that. Fell in love with Jesus and all of this stuff. But for some reason, like anytime I get into any like new belief system, I don't really fall too deep in it, because for some reason, like, I don't know, I just was built off of psychology, and like I just think a lot. But anyway, so went through a very, very rough time, after my grandmother died. So that's what made me read the Bible in the first place. So I read it, got a decent perspective from it, like what I was seeing from it. It kind of reminded me of, other books that I've read before, like some Confucius books and the Tao books and stuff like that, Buddha books, and a whole bunch of other books. Reminded me a lot of stuff like that, especially Proverbs, because I like Proverbs a lot. Proverbs is my favorite one. So reading the book, boom, boom, boom. So now I get into the breaking down phase. So I read the book from front to back. I did like the audio version of it, right? And then now I'm also reading it again, word for word now. And the stuff that is in the Bible that matches up with the world is very, very like crazy. You know what I mean? And it just is so wild how a book like that can be made, right? So you got to think about something like that. Like, if that book is divinely inspired from God, right? At the end of the day, we all agree that men wrote it, okay? Men wrote it. If you don't know, it's called the Septuagint. 70 men, Greek 70 is Septuagint, that's 70 in Greek. So 70 men wrote it through orders of, I think it was one king or something like that, one emperor or something like that, that he wanted this book translated. So they translated the book and they all came up with the same story. This is what the story is, right? And, that's divinely inspired. That's how everybody sees it. So me thinking, I'm like, all right, back then, people were most people didn't read or write, okay? So all of the people that did read or write were very, very smart. So just think about that. Like, people that have doctorate degrees right now, like those were those type of people. Like, people, not just regular thinking type, like people that, like, you know what I mean? Like, are smart as hell, like Bill Gates type people, smart as shit, right? So there are people like that. And the average person can't read or write. So my perspective from that is like, okay, that emperor knew what he was doing, and he wanted to make that book a certain way, so that way he could use it for what he wanted to use it for. Now, that's not far-fetched, because we know that the book has been always used for that. Even back in slavery times, the book was used to control slaves. There's a slave Bible where certain parts of the Bible were taken out, and they only showed the slaves certain verses of the Bible, so that way they thought that all of it was evil and God wanted slaves and stuff like that. So if you don't know that, then you don't understand how much the Bible has actually been manipulated. Again, back when the Catholics, when the book was in Latin, the priest was the only one that could only read the Bible to the people. So just think about that. Like, if I could only read the Bible to certain people, I could make them think whatever I want them to think, because I would only read certain parts to them. And then even now in the church, they only read certain books to you. Like, they don't read all of the Bible to you. They only read certain books that make you feel good, to make you keep coming back, to make you feel like you redeemed yourself and stuff like that. They keep repeating these same books over and over and over. So if I ask you who Samson is, you know who Samson is, right? And if I ask you, like who Moses is, you know who Moses is. You know who certain people of the Bible are, right? You know their stories and stuff like that. But then if I ask you, certain verses and other things, I'm not gonna go too deep in it. Most people will be like, oh, I've never heard that before. Like the past week, like I've been showing people that have been in church their whole life stuff, and they've been telling me, oh, that's in the Bible. I've never seen that before. And I will show them the verse. And I'm not a person that will just show you a little verse. I'm a person that will show you the beginning of the verse all the way down to the end so that you get the full context of it. That's what they don't do in the church. They'll read one verse and then they'll continue to push off of that verse, and then they'll just go off on life stuff to make you feel good, like to get familiar with you. Like, so that's what I don't like. So anyway, getting deeper into the Bible, I'm starting to realize like a lot of stuff is starting to get put together. So I'm like, okay, if these people wrote it, just like we have people who are actors and stuff like that, why wouldn't it be far-fetched for them to write a script that they can play out so that way people could stay in a fear state of mind? So that way people will always think that there's something wrong going on because it's in a book that is divinely inspired. Why wouldn't we think that? Why wouldn't we think it's a script? You know what I mean? And that the God that they created in that book is not a real God, that there is a real God. I'm not saying there's not a real God, that there is a real God, but they're making us serve another God. You understand what I mean? So we have to think about that. Like, the people wrote this book, and this book has always been used to manipulate people. And that's what people need to understand. And if you don't like think critically like that, then I don't know what to tell you. Like, you got to like really, really get out of that and like really, really think about it. Like, just think about it. Sit down and think about it. Is this book really from the God who created everything? Is it? I don't think so. I think the God that created everything is a better God than what we're looking at in this book. You know what I mean? Because these people are very, very evil. These people do not want us to have anything in this world. So why would they give us anything free? They don't give us anything free. Any information they give us always has some backlash to it. Any food they give us has some poison in it. Anything they give us has something that has a bad back end to it. So why would they just print a book out from God, billions and billions of copies of it, and just give it to us and say, here, and then you think that every single word in it is absolutely true. You know what I mean? And the book even tells you it's allegory. You know what I mean? If you go into it and you actually read it, the book tells you it's allegory. So you have to understand that. And if you don't understand what allegory is, it's pretty much like a parable. You know, like you're explaining but allegory is a full story. Like, and you're explaining something, but it also has a double meaning. You know what I mean? So if you don't understand what allegory is, then you need to really, really dig deep into who Constantine is. Dig deep into like the Spanish Inquisition and who the Templars, the Knights Templars were, and all that stuff. Like, you really gotta like look into what you believe in. Like, really, really think about that stuff. And what I did was I prayed about it. I said, God, I want you to tell me who you are. I don't care how ugly it is and what it looks like. I said, I really want to know. And this is where it brought me to. Like, it really, really brought me to that. And I believe that the real true God, like, is a God that is built inside of us, that understands us more than we think, and is not that God that's up there wagging his finger at you, hoping that you do good in every single thing that you do, because we all know that we don't. We all know that we don't. So why do we sit here and act like we're the best people ever and we don't do no wrong and nothing ever goes wrong and stuff like that? We got to stop acting stupid. We got to stop acting like that. So I don't know if I just had an epiphany or what, but you don't got to believe nothing that I say. I'm probably just a crazy guy with dreads who smokes weed. But at the end of the day, that's giving my thoughts. Just smells mine. Love y'all. Be safe.